What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut. She says that I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I believe in G.O.D. Don't believe in P.H.O.D. She keep playing me down. I'll play it for fun. This is John Cullen. Welcome to another episode of Web of Deception. I'm joined again by my co-host, Jason Goodman. Jason, thanks for joining me once again. Web of Deception, episode number 10. Momentous.
Indeed.
This one, this is an exciting episode because this takes us to sort of a chapter in the story that has been somewhat fascinating. I mean, we've seen videos from HBO and Vox trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
I think both you and I believe this was a bit of a misinformation campaign. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But by no stretch of the imagination are we supporting or promoting this QAnon concept. We're trying to critique it, evaluate it. I mean, how would you say it? How would you put it?
The second this thing appeared, I said, hang on a second. This is pure bullshit. Do not listen to this. It's astounding how it became... I mean, you know, you're talking about Vice News, and I mean, it was a phenomenon unlike anything we have ever seen. And I'm telling you, the second it appeared, anybody who's been watching since the beginning will know that I was warning people the moment they started talking about this, that it seems like an absolute hoax, absolute deception. And sure enough, we saw that it was essentially used, it was a honeypot, right? It got everybody to sort of gather around this thing that became a movement. And then that was what attacked the Capitol on January 6th, of course, according to the news and all that, QAnon. And they even dubbed Jacob Chansley the QAnon shaman, whether he was following QAnon or not. He was painted up, you know, you remember that show, The Pickup Artist with Mystery, the guy?
Of course I do. If it wasn't
and what was
for him,
his thing? Remember his thing, how he dressed all crazy? Peacocking?
Yeah, it's called peacocking. Absolutely.
Isn't that what the shaman was doing?
Well, it's interesting because you use the term honeypot. And to me, classically, the honeypot involves a woman coming on to the guy. And so I wouldn't call QAnon necessarily a honeypot because there's no
wait. Let me clarify. Yeah. When I'm saying a honeypot, what's his name there? I'm talking about anything that attracts anybody to something that they want. The honeypot is just an operation that dangles something in front of you that they know you're going to be attracted to, right?
Tar baby. So the tar baby in Brer Rabbit.
The tar baby is different though, John. That's something that's designed to attract you to it, to just stick your hands in it and get you caught up on the wrong thing.
Yes, right. That's what I think the QAnon was, is more of a tar baby. I think keep you caught up in it for a year, right? It was for years this went on. But I think everybody's wondering, well, what the hell does this have to do with George Webb?
It's an intelligence operation, is what we're both saying. Whatever the nickname for it is, it's just too complicated, and it permeates media. And I mean, you know,
we're going to break it down. We're going to show people some examples. We've got some examples of some of these posts, and we're going to break it down from the beginning, from the day it started, to posts that were relevant to the Las Vegas shooting, posts that were relevant to the pandemic.
But are we going to
And we're
break
gonna
down QAnon posts? I want to talk about how QAnon showed up, how they tried to use
yes.
it to destroy Jerome Corsi, and how the people
Yeah.
who are part of this whole web of deception. See, the reason why I was so right away saying that it was bullshit was because I could see that the people who were promoting it were the same people who were lying about me. So I just knew if they were lying about me, they're obviously lying about this as well. And it was Tracy Beans who was super duper pushing it on Dr. Corsi. And I want to talk about how, just certain details that I know. Like you see, we've got Dr. Corsi holding a particular document. And this is crazy because when I made this graphic, I saw some article that said for some reason the Barack Obama birth certificate is coming back. And this is not going to be like if people are out there like, oh man, QAnon show. No, that's not what this is going to be. I mean, to the extent that these posts are relevant, I definitely want to see them. But this is not going to be some, retro QAnon. QAnon was a psychological operation intended to draw in so many people around something that was then going to be destroyed. And that's all these people that are in jail for January 6th. I'm not blaming them, and I'm not saying that what's happening to them is justified. I'm saying this is an intelligence operation that was intended to entrap people and harm them, and that happened. And I was saying that from the moment that it appeared. So I get super angry when people come into the comments and start saying these QAnon chants and trying to live out these ridiculous QAnon fantasies. It's a trick. It's a deception. It's a harmful social engineering operation. And I want to talk about the people that organized it and executed it, according to my opinion, from looking at the public domain evidence.
All right, so probably the best place to start is the day that it started, the day the QAnon appears. And I think it was October 28th of 2017. And the reason that day sticks out is it's the same day that my YouTube channel was taken down by YouTube. So the I Am John Cohen channel was taken down on October 28th, the day of the first QAnon post. Now,
how do you know it's the first, though?
There's no mystery about what's the first QAnon post.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, these have been cataloged and databased and cross-referenced, and so
where do we get
one,
that?
Post two.
Did you send that to me?
You just well, the big one was qpub.map or qmap.pub, but that guy took it down, or they made him take it down. I think you can just do a quick search for QAnon post number 1, and you should find, somebody will have it. QAnon post number 1. And I think it was October 28th.
Yeah, let's see what Wikipedia thinks about it, should we? Because that's going to be obviously manipulated by whoever. So QAnon, according to Wikipedia, it originated in the American far-right political sphere in 2017. Storm is the new Pizzagate. See, that's the thing. But when they say the new Pizzagate, they're saying that Pizzagate is ridiculous because it has to do with the basement and everything. I mean, in my view, when there's something no one is denying that Jeffrey Epstein was somehow involved in trafficking and underage sex rings and all that kind of thing. So the notion that people are saying, hey, wait a minute, why isn't law enforcement effectively investigating? We know that Jeffrey Epstein, according to them, is dead and Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail. What about all these people on these lists that we're hearing about and prosecuting them? So, see, by throwing in all of these so-called conspiracy theories into this one basket of QAnon or Pizzagate or whatever, they can sort of simultaneously say all this stuff has been debunked and anything that you're talking about is ridiculous. But this doesn't really give us the date. I mean, this is Wikipedia, obviously, so it's going to try to make it appear stupid. And it's all talking about it's a fixation on Soros. But there are actually good reasons to be wondering what is going on with Soros and his nonprofit Open Society foundations, the Rothschild families, manipulation of banking.
So this is something that, again, I think this is consistent. When you look at this this campaign or program or operation, whatever the hell you want to call it, and you look at George Webb's technique. So one of the things we've talked about with George is that he sort of has this approach where he'll be sharing 80% of the information will be accurate, or 85% will be accurate, and then he drops a piece in there that's untrue that people will not be able to differentiate from the rest of the true information. And from that point forward, their version of the story is wrong, right? So they've got, like we went over this Macha Benassi aspect of the Wuhan games, which has nothing to do with what, if the Wuhan games played any role, Macha Benassi had nothing to do with this, right? She's not the player here. So he drops these little turds in the punch bowl, but 85% of what he's talking about is fascinating. It's what got you on the hook in the first place. This is why you were interested in the guy, right? It's like, and most of the people who listen to him think he's, legitimate. And there's relatively few, like I've listened in on some of these spaces on Twitter, and people come and they're like, George is an asshole. There's people really come at him hard, but then there is definitely a group that thinks he's legitimate. So this is this technique. And this technique of let's call it 85% true, 15% turds, right?
No. Wait a second.
No.
It's important that we got to clarify. That is correct. Okay. But see, there's a lot of people who hear you say that and they say, well, I'm going to listen to him because I'm still going to learn stuff from him anyway. And it's important that it's not 85,
it's a
15.
Good point.
It could be 99.9875% true, 0.5% bullshit, but that's the poison pill that's going to kill you, and you're not going to see it coming. So it's important that we call it what it is. This is an intelligence tactic called a limited hangout, where the person is gaining your trust by sharing truthful intelligence and then waiting for the fatal moment to strike with false information. So it's not as innocuous as 85% accurate makes it sound. That sounds like a weatherman who's doing his best and isn't quite making it. This is a deceptive tactic that is dangerous.
Agreed. All right, so this tactic, so now that you've codified it, I think a lot of people thought limited
Richard Nixon
hangouts,
codified it.
So I think a lot of people thought that the limited hangout was like our Patreon. It's like our patrons.
No.
Like, we gotta go behind a paywall, and that's a limited hangout. No. So this is important. It's important that you explain this, because this codifies it, and the fact that it's a setup.
Yeah.
The fact that it sounds legit.
Right.
It's a setup. It's a come along. Right. It's like the Port of Charleston. It's a come along. And here we go, and it's fascinating. And next thing you know, you're on a plane to England, and you're standing with the guy from WikiLeaks, and you turn to Trish the Dish, and she says, yeah, what do you know about Charleston? And you're like, what the fuck is she talking about?
Yeah.
It's a limited hangout. It's a setup, and they get you to third base, and then they leave with home plate. And it's like, where's everybody? What was
That's
this?
Right.
I'm on third base, ready to score, and now you changed all the rules.
Yeah.
That's what I see with QAnon, because there were elements of these drops that you're like, what? How the hell did they find this?
Right.
How's this in there? And then, we've got the ballots with the secret code in the corner, and who was that? Steve Pizzenik, and just trust the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so a limited hangout, John, someone that offers you all this truthful information that you want to gain your trust so that they can strike with fatally deceptive information at the right moment. The limited hangout is a type of honeypot, in that Winnie the Pooh wants honey, so he's going to the pot. You are a curious person who wants information. You go to the honeypot of the limited hangout that's giving you the information, and it's a tar baby because you get all stuck, jammed up playing with it, and now your hands are stuck, and you know, that's the lawsuits and all the blind alleys you get sent down and everything like that. So, I mean, these are words that people might find confusing. Hopefully some people find them clarifying, but it's helpful if we refer to things, sort of by the terms that have been assigned to them so that people know what we're getting at. And I hear a lot of people talk about that 80-20, 85, 90-10, whatever it is. And then they start finding themselves making a decision of like, well, how important is the 10%? Or I'll take 90% is pretty good on a test. It's not that.
No, you're right. That's an important distinction, because if for most people, it's going to be too difficult to differentiate the whatever it is that they're sharing that's true. And to your point, the fact that they're clearly misleading you on purpose. So unless you're studying them forensically, like we're doing here, right? Which is really a good way to describe this. We are forensically analyzing these posts and this campaign as part of a mission, an operation to control public opinion, or as you've said, to sort of corral, to be able to identify radical thought, so to speak, or is there, how much support is there for this type of thinking, and where does it reside?
But like we were just saying, when you start talking about, this is, we're going to reveal information about sex trafficking and Bill Clinton. Well, okay. So on the one hand, that's a lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell. So there's testimony and all kinds of factual evidence submitted in court pertaining to that topic. But then again, at the same time, that's a topic you would find being discussed in the context of QAnon or some of those other Pizzagate type things that they were associating with QAnon. So on another hand, it's intended to kind of, encapsulate and conflate all these different real topics into something that they can then weaponize. And that's why I've pictured Dr. Corsi here in the target, because I really feel like perhaps more than, this was true prior to January 6th, 2021, but QAnon was a crosshairs pointed at supporters of the MAGA movement and Donald Trump. And maybe Jerome Corsi was the first target of it, but there's a lot of people who spent a lot of time in jail because of QAnon on January 6th. People who were supporting QAnon got in a lot of trouble. Some of them did, right?
All right. Before we get to January 6th, let's go through this timeline with QAnon and when does Corsi come into it. So let's start at the beginning in October. So it's October 2017. It's roughly 4 weeks after the October shooting. All right. So the Las Vegas shooting takes place October 1st. So your relationship with George at that point is already on the rocks and has been replaced to a certain degree by your relationship with Joe Napoli, because now you're going to Vegas. Well, no, you've gone to Vegas. You've traveled with in other words.
Wait a second. From the thing I was doing with George was sort of, YouTube shows every day. So there was no real replacement.
I'm saying George. Operationally. Let's assume for a minute. Play along with me for a second and assume that all these guys have blue windbreakers. Okay, assume they all have blue windbreakers.
You mean Joe got assigned to me?
Yes, because George screwed the pooch, and the next guy up was Napoli. So now Napoli is with you in Vegas.
I don't think it works quite that way. They had a lot of people who were surrounding me. Trish and other people were doing, but they did things that I could tell were them trying to maintain contact. Joe Napoli too, and these people become
Napoli was the only one who tried to penetrate my he wanted to know who I was,
right?
And he was contacting me directly. No one else that you've ever interacted with in this George Webb circle here, no one else you've talked about has ever expressed any interest in me. Think about that. Mike Moore, zero. The whole Las Vegas shooting saga, he never said a word to you about, hey, this Cohen guy in the helicopters, what the hell is it with, is that legit or what? Never said a word about it. No. Trish the Dish, never said a word about the so none of these people, but Joe Napoli wants to talk to me privately on Skype.
Well, because
and
he
he's
was there at the
crying.
shooting and everything.
Oh, he's pouring his heart out. And, you know, gee whiz, I wonder, you know, after you left Oracle, where did you go? Fuck you. I'm not telling you that. That's none of your business. You know, I
He's
know
trying to
what they're
narrow
doing
the
there.
search on LinkedIn,
Yeah,
John.
exactly. I know exactly what he's trying to do. So, you know, what you want my purchase history at Amazon too? And you know, you zero in, and next thing you know, the UPS truck pulls up with 9 guys in it. So, I believe this operation. Again, it's like when my new hypothesis about why George was assigned to you, from an operational perspective, is that the concept of crowdsource the truth had already been
They decided
conceptualized by
someone
them.
would do it, and as soon as we see
Correct.
it, you got to go stop it.
If
There's
it's
a guy
somebody
doing
with
it.
chops, if
Right.
it's somebody with chops, right? So,
Right.
so if it's some loser in his garage and, you know, with
Don't
a
worry about
PlayStation in a gaming chair, but the fact that you showed up with a CV scared the hell out of them, and they're like, "Holy
But I
shit!"
think it was
this
the
guy
work with
this-
Charles. It was when we started down the road with Peter Smith.
It's the
was what
combo.
really-
It's multifaceted. You've got the chops. You've got the. And now keep in mind, but you didn't do Charles until you already knew George.
But it was weeks.
Charles-
It was like, that was weeks. Because George all
was-
started in May, and then Charles, their first video was June 30th. So it was like they wanted to get to Charles, I'm pretty sure. And see, that also goes to Dr. Corsi, because...
They didn't need you to get to Charles. They didn't need you to get to Charles.
No. I was
I'm
filling the
saying George-
role of an operation they already had laid out. They wanted a media patsy for the port of Charleston. That was obviously something they had planned. And the me role could be any number of people who just get slotted in there.
I think no. I think there's more to it. I think that the reason so to me, the Port of Charleston thing is sort of like a play from the playbook, right? So like the NBA, the NFL, they've got a playbook of different plays they run. So the Port of Charleston was like some campaign thing that some kid and an analyst that's sitting in a cubicle came up with. They deployed that to try and get you in the orange jumpsuit, right? So they try to make you into the Russell.
Well, and also to warm up the public for the Disinformation Governance Board and that kind of stuff.
No doubt. But again, what I'm suggesting here is that the notion of crowdsourcing investigative journalism was something that they were like, oh boy, we knew this was coming. We knew it was coming.
Right.
And
Side effect of social media that they hate.
Because they can't control the narrative. I was doing a podcast last week with Sean Newman, and I was saying he does a really nice podcast, really sharp guy, bright guy, asks great questions. And I said to him, they, meaning Langley, wasn't really anticipating intelligent, articulate adults
getting involved,
doing investigative journalism. Right. And then you add in your codification of it. And remember, I've said this before. When I started doing the Vegas shooting before we met, I was basically like the retard that can sing in the shower, right? That doesn't know A sharp from G flat, right? But
you're doing like an Botticelli,
angel, right? Exactly. Sings like an angel. Has no idea what the notes are, right?
Right.
And so that was me. I was doing your crowdsourcing method without actually realizing that that's what I was doing, because I was bringing all these videos together from all these different eyewitnesses and looking at that. So that's what they were afraid of, was that you were going to end up as the Johnny Carson of this stuff,
right?
And basically kick off a movement
kind of thing, right?
But Alex was kind of more entertainment. You were doing something that in the computing industry we call
this is more action. You're right. This is more of a. You're right. He was a more traditional news show that people were just watching. You're right.
Yeah, you were doing what we in computing we call loosely coupled parallel processing, right? Loosely coupled parallel processing. So now, in fact, you use. Well, I don't know if it's the right way to look at it, but when I work with you, and then I have people that help me with work and bring stuff in. And then they have people at their work who's helping them and bringing them things.
No, I always thought
That's
of
what
it
they-
like that. Exactly. I even did an
That's what
early
they were
video
afraid
where
of.
I said that, where I spoke about how when I was doing 3D animation and network processing, you don't realize the degree to which that increases your ability to do something until you're looking at it happening. It almost doesn't even make sense.
And it has a almost like a Medusa type, or not a Medusa, like a Hydra
Exactly.
type capability, in that there's going to be people, in our case, who've passed away. Right? I mean, you've had broadcast partners who've passed
Many.
away. And yet new people show up on the scene. New people come in and say, I'll pick up the baton. I'll forge ahead. I'll take that hill. I have, and this is what I think they were afraid of, was this concept. And that's why George and then his brother were assigned to rope-a-dope you into exhaustion or financial ruin.
It wasn't one then the other. We're going to talk about that some more, but we've got to make our way over to the sponsor segment here, John. It's been 25 minutes,
right.
So people can join us at subscribestar.com.
Yeah, let me tell everybody. Yeah, I'll tell everybody. You got it. Do you have it up on the screen? Can people see the links? So yeah, let's show everybody the link. So if you guys are not a patron of mine, shame on you, you dingbats. And if you're not a patron of Jason's, come on. You get so many choices with Jason's, you almost can sign up at Walmart. You can go to odyssey.com. You can go to substack.com. You can go to patreon.com. You go to subscribestar.com. Become a patron of Jason so that he can defend himself from this lawfare. He's been engaged in lawsuits by these people because they couldn't outsmart him with these cases. They were trying to get him to make some sort of a mistake, put himself in legal jeopardy, and get him into prison. And so when they realized they couldn't outsmart him that way, they said, okay, you're not a lawyer. We'll tie you up in the court system until we'll drain all your funds and you'll be bankrupt, and see how you like that. And Jason finds out that he's got this knack for law and becomes probably the number one pro se defendant in the country for the last 3 years. So this has been just such an unexpected journey for everybody, for them, for you, and for those of you who support Jason's work. We can't thank you enough. So those of you who haven't yet, this is a great time to do it. Start the new year out right. We did 52 shows last year together, you and me. So for those of you who aren't supporting me, you can see those shows if you go to Patreon or Subscribestar. And this Web of Deception series is an added bonus. So for people who are patrons, they're getting to see this patron-only portion. So again, if you're not yet supporting Jason, please consider doing that. I'm John Cullen. This has been Web of Deception. Thanks for joining.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut. She says that I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I believe in G.O.D. Don't believe in P.H.O.D. She keep playing me down. I'ma play her for fun. Don't really know my mental. Let me give you the picture like stencil. Falling out in the drought. No flow rain was pouring down. See that pain was all around. See my mom was kinda loud. Didn't know which way to turn. Flow was cool, but I still felt burned. Energy up, people feel my surge. I'ma kill everything like this burn. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain on.